Hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And here we are. Now we're going to be discussing a quick topic I didn't actually think we'd be discussing at this point. Now, this comes in light of Twitter and whatnot, and Twitter being Twitter, and some fantasy writers on the left and the right being fruitcakes about things. Now, we try to keep politics off the Brothers Krynn YouTube channel because at this point I don't really want it. It's so much more fun just discussing things like Huma or I don't know, Dragon Slayer, which we are going to be doing more Dragon Slayer and Legend of Huma and maybe some Arthuriana and some myth podcasts still, because I really want to do all sorts of fantasy content again, because that's the fun stuff, that's the good stuff. But the trouble is, I've been noticing more and more political arguments on Twitter, and also, does fantasy actually exist as a genre? Like, isn't it just an outgrowth of like science fiction or of what have you? And I'm left thinking, but fantasy has its roots in medieval literature, which has its roots in classical literature. Where'd you get the outgrowth of sci-fi? Now, I realize the people saying this are rage baiters, but it's like, can we actually stop for a minute and kind of think about it? Now, there are some saying fantasy is more like a setting or like a style, or like, I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. But the people saying that are a lot more reasonable, to my mind, for the most part. Some of them might not be, I don't know. I've only had a few interactions, and generally it's been pretty polite to me. And the trouble is, someone on Twitter who has a sizable platform, by the name of Jack, Lost Lore Scholar. Now, he's got connections to, I believe, Elven Inn or Elven Maid Inn, who's really nice. These are people with, I think, big enough platforms over on Twitter. Okay, some of them have that. Now, Jack is a Red Sonja fan. We're not going to hold that against him, though. I'm joking. But he's released a video where he says, can we just get the politics out of here? And he even wrote a great article over on Elven Inmaid's site about this. And, like, I actually can't disagree with him. Like, I'm just scrolling through to find his article. And the thing is, it's over on drivethroughrpg.com. And the thing is, Jack is just wanting the politics and the slop and the sludge out of the genre. And the thing is, the whole rage baiting and whatnot. Now, I will say, those who are saying it's more of a style of writing and it's a kind of theme, or fantasy is more an idea, not a genre, are not they're not all rage baiting. Like, I will have to point that out, because I've talked to a few. They're not trying to rage bait. They're just having a philosophical argument and discussion. So I'm not going to talk trash about them, because, you know, they're like, let's have a discussion. And if you say, well, I said, well, here's my reasons for why it's a genre. Oh, interesting discussion. Have you thought about this point or that point? They're not, like, shout out to Brian and JD Cohen. They don't want to, like, they're not turning into a fight. They're just wanting to have a philosophical conversation about what does it mean to have a genre in fiction. Which, this is the sort of thing you'd have in a university. Or you're supposed to, but, you know, universities have kind of gone a little crazy. But it's a sort of discussion I really do appreciate. I actually get off on this a little too much. Because just the other day, Dan and I did a live on Substack, and somebody threw a monkey wrench about Arthuriana, and then we got into the Plantagenet and the Capetien, and we lost track of time. A 40-minute live became an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of just talking about the Plantagenet and the fine points. But see, the trouble with this Wolf Elven Maiden's hosted article, which was written by Jack, is that Jack's trying to convey that I just want escapism, not politics. Like, this stuff, it's just not... Nobody wants this. Can we get it out? Like, can we just stop it? And let's think about it. Because if we keep this up, what will be left? There will be no escapism. And this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, because as I'm getting older, I'm enjoying fantasy a lot more. And I need the escapism. Also as a writer, because I love writing and I can't really handle real life more and more. So I like to escape into my art and my fiction. And this is something that's really quite near and dear to my heart. And this is a topic that Grimdark Half Off has discussed. Shout out to him. And why it's important. Why we need escapism. And I'm finding that I'd rather just listen to a YouTube video or read a Substack article or listen to a Substack podcast over this nonsense. And the thing is, one thing I do appreciate about like some members of the Tolkien community and the Conan community is they're only wanting to discuss the fine points of the literature and review and rate and whatnot. But there's a whole segment of grifters on Twitter who are just like, let's make it political. All art is political. And before people say, oh, that's only on the left. No, there's people on the right I'm noticing doing the same thing. There are people on the right saying, let's make it all political. And fantasy is not supposed to be like that. It's a medieval genre of sorts. It's pre-modern. It is not supposed to have any modernity in it. It is not supposed to have liberalism in it. It is a anti-liberal genre. And when I say that, I don't mean like it's conservative. No. Conservatism is liberalism. So get those ideas out of your head. It's anti-conservatism. It's anti-liberalism. It's anti... Well, it harkens to a pre-feminist, pre-democratic era. It is monarchical in nature. It is ultimately something that is anti-modern. It is pre-modern. It harkens back to that Christian period of Europe, and also to that, I guess you could say pre-contact in a way, period of Asian history, like of Japan, China, Korea. This is the eras and the kind of setting it is all about. And the minute you inject a bit of modernity, or even ChatGPT in there, because that's also a thing, you lose something. It's about escaping to a time and a place you can't touch these days.
When looking at fantasy, I want to see the knight figuring out how to slay the dragon. Not determining where the orc swings.
Or who he voted for. Because, you know, if that orc voted, I don't know, right wing or left wing or something, like, isn't that a bigger concern? It's like, no, I don't want to hear about that. It was fine when Gallivant cracked jokes about this stuff. That was funny. But Gallivant was a spoof. And the spoof has become the mainstay. And I really think... Can we not? Like, can we take 5 minutes and not do this? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
the fact that a lot of a lot of fantasy today, the fact that Gallivant has far deeper moments, and it's, as you mentioned, it's a spoof. It should tell us something about the quality of writing that we have today when focused on more the politics.
Yeah, and it's something that you kind of gotta say, like, this political thing, it's not working. And what's needed is to recognize there's a problem. Now, we need to kind of reclaim the genre, I would argue, and restore it to a bit of a more transcendent viewpoint on the universe, to the kind of thinking that Tolkien and Howard had. Now, if you think I want it to be irreligious, no. To me, it has to be very religious in nature. Because, I don't know if you noticed, but the genre was built by Christians. Like, I know there's the classical literature period, but let's actually think about it. The genre goes back also to Roland, and from then on, you've had medieval literature, which was, you did have a lot of paganism in it, which is fine, but you also had a lot of Christianity. But the ones who saved the pagan stories and passed them down was, ironically, the Christians. And then you had Howard and Tolkien and Dunsany. Notice something? All Christians. Tolkien was Catholic. We need, yes, stories that harken back to pagan tales. Because let's be honest, we do want to see something weird and wild like the Hyborian Age or Arda, which are clearly, like on the surface level, kind of paganistic. But, you know, underneath it, there's a layer of Christianity in there. That's how it's supposed to be. Let's restore it to its roots. Let's restore the genre to its roots. Because this is the oldest genre in human history. It goes back to Gilgamesh. This is a great genre. It is the perfect genre. And the thing is, if you have the mentality, whoa, that's political. No, it's not. What I'm wanting is to eschew all the democratic nonsense, all the noise, all the politics, and restore apoliticalness, but restore the transcendent element to this genre, which was never supposed to be a left-right nonsensical thing. Nobody wants it. Nobody's ever wanted that. And the thing is, I just want to read stories from Dragonlance, or like Robin Hood, or Robert E. Howard, or Tolkien. I want to read these stories. I don't want to have to like hear about who the writer voted for. And the only reason I mention the right is that I did notice a lot of people on the right who, franchement, were just like, oh, hey, we need to make it more political, or we need our politics. Listen, conservatism is liberalism under the speed limit, as it's been said. So, no, I don't want conservatism in there. I really don't. I really don't want liberalism. I don't want leftism. I don't want rightism. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want a good yarn with a good swordsman or a sorcerer or something saving Lady Fair. I want sassy girls who, you know, can sing a good ballad and whatnot. Like, or even if you want a action girl, that's fine. Like, give me an Eowyn or a Valyria, even Red Sonja on some days. Give me that, because we recently read a really good Red Sonja graphic novel. Seriously, the video's by this time already up over on Brothers Hyborian. You'll want to check that out. But like, that's the sort of stuff I want. I know this is an unusual fantasy talks episode, but I am really quite sick of this left-right thing. Please get it out of my genre, or our genre in this case, out of our genre, because to me, when I'm writing, I feel like I'm praying. When I'm reading, it is the most relaxing thing in the world, and I love, like, I've got now like 2 notebooks full of page numbers and data and little details about all sorts of fantasy universes. And you know, I love that. I approach it like it's an actual history project. And when I write essays on this stuff, it's freaking fun. that's I I don't always like writing essays, but I like writing some fantasy ones. It's enjoyable. But more than that, I like writing fantasy stories. I like writing mythic fiction. And honestly, yeah, I'm back on Twitter, which isn't healthy. And I'm trying to retool my Twitter feed to be more fantasy focused. But while I'm doing that, all I see is politics from a few particular writers, and I'm left going, I want this stuff out of my life. It's, I want to expand my horizons, want to make connections, want to help myself as a writer, but also I want to talk with other fantasy writers because it's fun talking to them. We went to a convention a while back. It was a blast talking to one or two horror and fantasy fans and writers and whatnot. But how can we do that if it's going to be nonstop, talking of Trump or Musk or whoever it is? I don't know. I don't care. Get it out. And, I've got my politics. Sure. But that doesn't mean I want to hear about my politics when I'm writing or in my stories or something.
I can't help but think of the Black Lightning series. Yeah, through the series they debated about how to treat others regarding politics. Yeah. But at the end, there was one line that destroyed the series for both the right and the left because they found it inappropriate and it killed their enjoyment.
Yeah, but, let's be honest. You had Thunder at one point who said, I didn't like in a training session, she attacked one of the prop guys or something who had I think a MAGA shirt, and she said, I didn't like his shirt. And you kill him for that? No. You have to stay focused. I don't care if you think he's got a garbage opinion. You are saving that man. You owe him that much. You're the equivalent of a cop. You don't get to decide what's right or wrong about people's lives. You don't get to decide whether he has the right to live or not. Because you know what? That might be a father. That might be a son. That might be a brother. That guy might have a dog. He might have grandkids waiting for him at home. Are you going to just take that away from him? Take him away from them? Who gave you the right? And I'll actually say I love that scene because it's thank you. Let's give it to that series for actually vocalizing that opinion. Now, the series did have other problems. It wasn't just the one scene at the end of, I don't know which season, but there were other problems. For one thing, they needed Static Shock in there. But the trouble is, people have been so driven into this. Everything's been so politicized. And it has been going like this since probably the 80s or something. But, or even before, let's be honest. But that doesn't, in fantasy fiction, it's kind of a more recent development because fantasy fiction only really got like this probably after 2005 or 2006 or something. Got weird. And nobody wants this kind of weird stuff. It's been going on for 20 years. I think we're all tired of it. I think we all kind of wanted to stop. So, yeah, props to Jack. Thank you. You said everything I wanted to. Dan and I are a little more prone to whining, so our video turned longer. But seriously, the genre is not supposed to be something we have a tennis match over. There are deep themes and motifs and ideas to this genre, and a transcendent element. Now, if you disagree about that, fine. I'm not going to argue, because I really don't want politics. So, yeah. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, please. And also, we will be releasing soon a audio drama. Soon on another channel. Please do subscribe to that other channel. We would really appreciate your support. Thank you.